Hi, I'm Ruby Steinbrecher. I'm an estate planning attorney based in Sebastopol, California, and I want to share some tips with you today. Most Californians, or many Californians, want to create an estate plan, but they don't know where to start. This video simplifies the process by sharing 5 key points that everyone should know before creating an estate plan or going to talk to an attorney about creating an estate plan. So first is the threshold. You probably want to know what probate is and why you want to avoid it. That is the basis for creating an estate plan, is to ensure that your family does not have to go through probate, because probate is very time consuming, very expensive, and your family or friends, you don't have any control about the administration of your estate once the court becomes involved. When you do proactive estate planning, you are then able to avoid probate and the court process completely, which allows your family to make sure that the process is totally private and can be done a lot more quickly than probate can. The second point is, when is probate required? Because probate is not required for everyone. It is only required if the person who passed away owned real estate or has assets in excess of $200,000. And when I say assets, I'm not talking about personal property or the contents of your house. I'm talking about bank accounts, financial assets that are under the control of a financial institution. And in order for your chosen person to have the authority to get access to those accounts, they would need to have the proper documents. And if the amount of those accounts are more than $200,000, if there is not a trust where those accounts have been properly titled into the trust, then a letter from the probate court is going to be required to the family member or friend who is stepping up to manage and take care of your estate when you're gone. So again, knowing what probate is, it's a court process that oversees the distribution of assets after someone has passed. The probate threshold is required when there is real estate or assets in excess of $200,000. My third point, you're going to want to know all the assets that you have in order to go and complete a proper estate plan. A lot of us have a sense, yes, I have these bank accounts, I own this property, but a lot of times there are small bank accounts that you might have forgotten about completely. I highly recommend that you watch my on-demand webinar, which can be found at my website, www.lawofficeofruby.com. Click on workshops, and you can sign up for the on-demand webinar there that goes over a lot of basics about this. But one of the things that I talk about in that workshop is the fact that in 2024 alone, $13 billion in unclaimed assets went to the state of California. That's just within our state, and that's 1 year. And you know why that happens? It happens because we don't know where all your stuff is, or the person who died doesn't have anybody to step up and claim those assets. This is why it's so important that you make sure you research all the assets that you have. You can even do a Google search for unclaimed property, and a couple of bank accounts might show up for you. Make a comprehensive asset inventory. Put that list of all of your assets with your important documents so that it can be easily found by your family members or your friends who are coming and helping after something has happened to you. So it's really important that you know what all your assets are. And on top of that, if you're married or have been married in the past, you're going to want to know if any of those assets are community property. In the state of California, community property are any assets that you acquire during the marriage. When an asset becomes community property, that means it belongs to the community equally. That means the two spouses. So you want to be really clear on what's community property and what's separate property. And one thing that people often don't realize is that even if you're married, when you inherit property, it is always separate property, even if you acquire it during the marriage. And the only way that that property becomes community property is if you commingle it, which means you put it in a joint bank account or put your spouse's name on the asset. As soon as that happens, you have commingled it and you have transmuted the property from separate property to community property. So it's really important to know what assets you have. It's really important to know whether they're community property or separate property. And it's really important to make sure that any inheritance is not commingled with your spouse. Number 4, who are your people? This is so important. This is where the word trust comes from. You are naming someone you trust to carry out your wishes when you're gone. When you create a revocable living trust, you're going to name successor trustees, the person who will take over when you are incapacitated or pass away, or your spouse has become incapacitated or passes away. That's when this named person steps in to carry out your wishes. There are other jobs within an estate plan. You're going to be naming agents for your power of attorney. You're going to be naming people to make healthcare decisions for you. All of these people have very important jobs. So you need to think about who are the people I might want to include in my estate plan, whether they have a job or perhaps you want to leave them a gift. So those are also the people that you want to make sure that you're including and thinking about prior to going and seeing an attorney and completing your estate plan. Make a list of all of your people, and then maybe make a note next to the people who you think might be best for certain roles. And I always recommend that we name 3 people in each role. Your choice number 2, backup number 2, backup number 3. This alleviates the need from making revisions or amendments to your estate plan in the event one of those people cannot act or they decline to act. Point number 5, this is the big one that people often think about the most. Where do you want your assets to go? If you have children, that might be an easy decision, but then would you want them to get money outright right away upon your death? Would you want to put conditions on those gifts? If you don't have children, this decision is even more important because maybe there's other family members that you would want to provide for, or maybe there's causes or organizations that are really important to you that could benefit from receiving a gift from your estate. That also provides opportunities to avoid taxes on retirement accounts by designating a 501c3 or a charity that could receive these gifts. So where do you want your assets to go? And where do you not want your assets to go? Oftentimes we have people in our lives who we know are going to try to make a claim on our estate or feel entitled to gifts. And that is equally important to who you want to have assets, because we need to make sure that we're specifically designating who will not receive a gift from your estate plan. So again, 5 key things you should know before creating an estate plan in the state of California. What's probate and why you want to avoid it? When is probate triggered? What's the probate threshold? What are all your assets? What type of assets are they? Are they community property, separate property? Who do you want to be involved in your estate plan, whether they have a job or they're a beneficiary receiving a gift? And where do you want those assets to go, whether that's individuals or organizations? I hope this was helpful for you. Please feel free to reach out to us for a free 15-minute consultation. We have a very easy process that will take you through to make sure that you are educated, understand how this works, and all of your wishes and intent is carried out properly. We will follow up with you every 3 years once you become a client to ensure that your estate plan stays current and up to date and works when you need it to work. Please leave a comment or follow us. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know if you want to hear any specific information, and we'll create a video for you for that also and upload it here onto YouTube. Thank you.